Hey there. Is your aim inconsistent, or do you have trouble with landing your abilities when it counts? Good crosshair placement and prediction can help a lot with that. Even if you're a support main, you can still benefit from the tips we're presenting here to help you gain more information in games and aim better. Hello guys, and welcome to the dojo. In this video, we're going to talk about simple concepts that can improve your game vastly. This is going to be about proper crosshair placement in different situations and how to use prediction of your opponents to gain the upper hand in fights, plus other small insights that you can use to get better. We already have other videos in the topic of small things that can help you get better. Check out the playlist by clicking on the card right now. We're presenting techniques here that may sound trivial, but you need to understand and practice them to get better. So first of all, let's talk about the very basics of how you should aim. Before everything else, you need to choose a crosshair that fits your playstyle and aim. You can choose a crosshair in the settings, and you can customize that for every hero, or use the same for all of them. Our tip here is to use a bright color that can be seen in any environment, and avoid using black or white. Pink works well, for example, as there are only a few pinkish colors in the game. It's really just a personal preference. Just make sure that it's visible and comfortable for you. The recommended default crosshair shape is either the dot or the small rectangle for most characters. The goal here is to have a crosshair that's not covering a lot of screen space and gives you the ability to aim precisely. The dot is the smallest you can get, however it covers the exact spot of aiming, thus making it uncomfortable to some players. The small rectangle covers a little bit of screen space in the middle, but doesn't overlay the targets, making it easier to acquire the opponent more easily in some situations. We recommend to keep the bloom of the reticle off, as it'll transform your crosshair when you're shooting with some characters. We're looking for consistency in every aspect of our aim, so let's keep the crosshair the same. Also, some characters can benefit from using the default crosshair because there are additional helpers on screen. You can use Zarya's default crosshair, for example, to learn how to arc your shots to precisely bombard different spots on the map. Of course, the same can also be done with a simple dot crosshair. You just need practice. Figure out what works for you and then stick to it. A lot of players don't think about how they're acquiring a target. There are two different schools here. You either focus on your crosshair and bring the target under it, or on your environment and bring the crosshair over the focus point. There's not really a huge difference in the result, as you'll still hit your target regardless. However, it's important to know which is the recommended way, as it can help your game tremendously. Let's examine the two types of target acquisition, starting with focusing on the crosshair. This type of aiming is when your sight is mostly on your crosshair and you navigate the game like that. New players of FPS games tend to aim like this. If you want to match it with a real-life example, it's like when you're having your eyes on a fixed position, not on a fixed point, and you turn your head like that. Your head and eyes are moving together in this case. Just pause the video here and try it. We're going to give you a few seconds. So what do you think about looking at the world like this? You can focus more around the point where you're fixing your eyes at and less on everything else going on around you. If you try this in game, it's easier to concentrate on aiming with this method as you don't have to deal with extra information, just the thing that you're looking at right now. This technique makes it easier to place your crosshair well. However, due to the lack of information around you, this is not a recommended way to aim. It should also feel unnatural if you think of it. If you're moving around in game like this, you're missing a lot of intel about what exactly is happening around you. So let's see the other type, and you'll understand why it's the go-to way of aiming. Focusing on your target rather than your crosshair gives you much more to work with. This is more like how we're using our sight in real life. Your eye can wander on the screen, and when you acquire a target, you bring the crosshair over it, essentially looking at the target through the crosshair. This not only gives you more information about your environment, but by not fixing your sight on the center, you can and should look at other important parts of your screen. More about this in a bit. This way also helps you to memorize different distances on the screen, thus allowing you to develop your muscle memory for small shots. This is how good players do their flick shots. Their hand knows exactly how much they need to move to score a headshot from any position on the screen. So if you're looking at how pro players track their monitor with their eyes, you'll see that they're using this technique. Kefri has a video where he shows us where his gaze is during the games. We're going to be using examples of this video to show you important concepts that you need to incorporate in your game in order to get better. Check out how he's tracking his target when in combat. As you can see, he's using the aforementioned technique to track his target. He's focusing on hitting the shots, however sometimes his gaze quickly wanders off to the sides to check his environment. This way he can pay most of his attention to the fight, but not letting himself be too exposed or catched by surprise by another enemy. If you've been using the eye fixed on the crosshair technique, it's time for you to change. It'll take some time to get used to the new one, but the improvement will be noticeable after a few games. Remember that Overwatch is not an aim-intensive FPS game, so you're going to be able to concentrate on the really meaningful things instead of making sure that you land all your shots. Okay, now that we have the basics down, let's see how you should have your crosshair placed. It's short and simple. Keep your crosshair at head level at all times. Again, this is useful for any type of character, not just DPS ones. You'll need to be able to quickly dish out Discord orbs when needed with Zenyatta, or hit the flame strikes with Reinhardt, and so on. By keeping the crosshair at head level at all times, you're making sure that you can hit the initial shots for the critical damage with DPS, and giving you a nice advantage with the other abilities too. It's important to deliberately pay attention to this if you want to improve and make it a habit. Even when you're just wandering around the map, have the crosshair placed at head level. Stop looking at the ground or higher up in the sky. You'll see more of the maps and have more information to work with. After a while, it'll come naturally to place the crosshair at head level at all times. But until then, you need to keep it in mind and adjust every time you catch yourself not doing it. Alright, the next section is about aim prediction, or predictive crosshair placement. This is the habit of not only keeping your crosshair at head level, but at the exact place where you can expect the target to be at in the next seconds. Here's an example of someone roaming around in King's Row just focusing on the predictive crosshair placement. Note that you'll need to know the map to be able to do this. It also helps to know common positions and paths enemy takes, but that's not necessary. Let's see our example. When leaving the spawn, the player keeps the crosshair on the side of the bus, then quickly checks the gate, then the top of the rear building and back to the gate again. This covers all the usual positions of the enemies, so it'll be easier to hit them if they're standing in the predicted position. The gaze is returning to the gate after checking the other places, as that's the usual place for the enemy to peek out from. Then going towards the point, the focus is on the right side, then switching to the taxi, then sweeping to the left side to the wall, and then to the hotel on the far left, all while moving behind the statue. From this point, checking the entrance to the salon, then the right side of the point, the arc, and then the dark area behind the hotel. If an enemy is at any of these checked places or near them, it'll be a lot easier to aim and fire at it using this technique. As we are always checking the nearest visible space, there shouldn't be an issue of missing anything or not getting to the target quickly enough. You can see that explaining and dissecting this takes time, but if you're doing it live, it's a much faster thing. Let's see an example of Kefri's game in King's Row. Pay attention to the red circle, that's the thing marking his gaze. You can see that his eyes continuously wandering around the screen. He's not only doing preemptive crosshair placement, but checking his stats, the kill feed, and all the other important things again and again. A special case of the aim prediction is when you're waiting for an enemy to appear at some place. Let's see an example of what we're talking about. You managed to get to the first point on King's Row as an attacker, and wipe the defenders, but you're expecting them to come back and try to contest the point. In this case, you can use the preemptive crosshair placement to make sure that you can hit your target as soon as it's visible. To do so, place your reticle at head level to a small distance away from the spot you're expecting the enemy from. The small distance is needed to leave room for reacting to the enemy popping in your vision. This way your aim can be consistent, as you just need to land the initial shots without moving the mouse, then start tracking the opponent. You can't exactly predict where the enemy will go, but they're probably going to try to go straight to the point. So when the foe appears, you can expect it to move towards you, not sideways or away from you. Always try to think about what the enemy wants to do and place your crosshair accordingly. This way you can easily get the upper hand in situations where you're defending a point. You will need smaller adjustments after the initial shot if the enemy is expected to move towards you, and bigger if moving at the same distance or away from you. The first few shots can decide a fight in itself if you're using this technique well. Alright, let's talk about what's happening when you're using all these techniques in a live game. What we've seen so far were the simple scenarios without the chaotic happenings of a live match. You're going to have to pay attention to several things in the same time. During a live game, you'll need to move around a lot and dodge shots and different abilities. Therefore, it's necessary to learn how to compensate your aim. When you're doing the preemptive placement, for example, you need to learn how to keep the crosshair at the exact same spot while moving around. A real-life example is trying to fix your eyes on a spot and move around while keeping your gaze on that point continuously. If you move to the right, your head will compensate by turning left. The same should be learned with a mouse. This also helps you to track your targets better, by the way. Practice moving around and keeping your crosshair at the exact same spot. This can also be used when you're dodging. You're doing sharp movement changes, and you need to compensate sharply with the mouse to keep on the target or the spot you're aiming at. Again, you'll need practice, but it's well worth the effort. Okay, so you know what crosshair to use, to focus on the target rather than the crosshair, to always keep the reticle at head level, to use preemptive crosshair placement, and how to compensate when you're moving around or dodging. Now, if you really want to integrate all these techniques into your game, we recommend doing them at once. Changing your crosshair is a one-time thing, but the others need practice. This means that your next few games should be solely about practicing these concepts with a hero. Hop into bot games or quick play, and make sure that you pay attention to the things that we've been talking about here. Make sure you do it for a few days and it'll come naturally. You will probably die more because you're not focusing on the game that much, but don't mind that. All in all, these are small changes to your gameplay, but can affect your aim greatly. Make sure to pay attention to these and practice it a lot. You won't notice it growing into a habit, but that's what we want to achieve. You will surely see improvement in accuracy and game awareness. If you like what we're doing here, please make sure to like, favorite, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not already, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
This time we'll have to join forces.